Welcome to Kyle Brandt's Basement. Last show of the week, Thursday's show. We got a game tonight. It's a game that matters. Niners, Seahawks. We're going to talk about the Brock Purdy experience. Is this thing going to come to a crashing halt tonight in front of the 12s? Or will it get even higher and higher? It's hard to imagine the hype more on Brock Purdy. Also, the matchup I'm looking forward to this weekend and the quarterback we may be seeing the last of forever. Who might it be? And my guy, Jason McCourty, is going to come in here, and we're going to do the sports media Death Star. The things that are annoying in sports media, we're just going to blow them up. Jason McCourty, I don't see him enough in the morning, so we want to come in the afternoon. You guys gave us submissions, good ones. We'll destroy them with a laser coming up later in the show. Plus, Bills Dolphins. It is Saturday night, and I have the matchup in the game that is the most hilarious to me. Just a hint, it's a Dolphins D lineman versus a Bills quarterback. That's it. Let's start the show with what I love, what I hate, and what's hilarious. Come on. Oh, I love that the Brock Purdy storyline and experience continues tonight in Seattle. We have the San Francisco 49ers going to Seattle to play against those Pete Carroll, those scrappy Geno Smith Seahawks. And here we go. Are you sick of Brock Purdy yet? I'm not. I think it's fun. It's been a couple weeks. His name's mentioned a lot. There's a lot of annoying wordplay with his last name. There's a lot of talk about his dad in the stands. But I really like it. I'm into it. It's fun. It's the unlikely hero. It's you never think you're going to know what you're going to get from the NFL. We got this kid who's showing up, and he's playing for one of the best teams in the entire league, and you might just play with him all the way into the playoffs. And if you let your imagination go, you never know when it might be the next Tom Brady. Who knows? Some guy coming out of nowhere like a Disney movie, and all of a sudden he's winning Super Bowls, and who knew? Last guy picked in the draft. It's so cute. It's so fun. That's why we like this stuff. Adam Schefter says that Brock Purdy is expected to start. You know, he was a little banged up, took some huge hits last week, including on the first play of the game. We were going to see Josh Johnson, the epic journeyman, as backup. No, Shefty says that Brock Purdy is expected to start. Here's the deal with Brock Purdy. Right now, it is a great story. Fun story, wholesome story. Everyone you get to really rally behind, especially around the holidays. However, if Brock Purdy goes to Seattle tonight on Amazon in the national televised game, and he wins in front of that crowd, then we go from story, follow this, to sensation, okay? It goes from, this is kind of interesting, look, this kid's going to come off the bench, to, oh man, this is a really big story, to sensation. That's the way it works. If he wins tonight, we're going to start bordering on Linsanity. It's almost going to be knocking on the neighborhood of Tebow mania. It's going to get that big. Because Brock Purdy today is not just going up against allegedly the largest crowd in the NFL. It's not just the Seahawks crowd in a nationally televised game at night around the holidays. This is going to be a desperate Seahawks crowd. This is going to be a nervous Seahawks crowd, a crowd that feels this team's season getting away from it, that we had this thing going for a couple months and no one believed in us, and we got Geno and never doubt Pete again, and we're going to the playoffs and we're going to maybe even win the West. Hard times. Hard times. I don't know if this team has been the same since they got back from Germany. So that crowd isn't just going to be raucous or fun. They're going to take it on them, say, we need this game. Our guy needs the 12s. We got to support Geno. I think they're going to be crazy loud, especially with the Niners in town, especially with the tenor of this rivalry over the past 10, 15 years. It's intense. I mean, really, really intense. Go back to all the Crabtree, Sherman, LOB, Kaepernick. Great, great, great games. I think when Seahawks fans, the Seahawks players even, see that red and gold come into their stadium, I think the intensity goes way up. And now they see a quarterback who's never been there before. Have you seen the records of rookie quarterbacks at Seattle during the Pete Carroll administration? They're 2-10. 2-10 rookie quarterbacks. I also looked up rookie quarterbacks. Check this out. This is how deep I went for you. Rookie quarterbacks making their first road start at Seattle. First road game they've ever played at Seattle in front of that crowd in that stadium. Not pretty. Pick anybody you want from Deshaun Watson, lost. Carson Wentz, lost. Josh Rosen, first round pick. Chosen over Josh Allen, lost. Okay? It's just a tough place to play. That's why I say we're ready for Purdy mania, Brock mania. We need some sort of new wordplay for what's going to happen, like Linsanity or Tebow mania. It's going to be that big of a thing. This is the time. And I just want to do, if you do like the prop bets or the drinking game or whatever, how many times is Brock Purdy's father going to be shown on the broadcast tonight? As many times as Brock Purdy? Sean Purdy, wonderful dad, wholesome image of a man watching his son out there realizing his dreams. Love it. I'm into it. It's a lot. Sean Purdy, shown a lot. Sean Purdy threatens to enter the Parent in the Stands Hall of Fame, including such dignitaries as Wilma McNabb, Donovan McNabb's parents, where mom was always shown. Christian Leitner's mom on TV a lot. Kind of think of some other ones. If you know any, tweet me. There's a whole crew of famous family members and famous parents. Look, Brenda Warner, Kurt's wife, she wanted to put it on the map in the late 90s. They'd always show Brenda in the crowd. But I specifically have the parents. A lot of parents being showed. Oh, another one who's not a parent, though. Brady Quinn's sister, who went on to date and marry A.J. Hawk. She was at the Ohio State-Notre Dame game wearing a half Notre Dame, half Ohio State jersey. If you know, you know. You remember Brady Quinn's sister was on the broadcast a lot. I think that Sean Purdy, Brock Purdy's father, please tweet me when you see him on the broadcast tonight. Seems like a wonderful man, but he's going to be up there tonight. Is he ready for the sensation? Are you ready for all the pregame shows next week to do Brock Purdy prepackaged segments and vignettes and sit-downs and interviews? If you think you're hearing a lot of Brock Purdy now, just 2 weeks ago, I kept coming on this show. I was calling him Bryce Petty. I couldn't even remember his name. I was calling him Bryce Petty, the old Jets quarterback, another Big 12 guy. But it is Brock Purdy, and if he goes in there and beats Seattle tonight, Seattle might be cooked, and the Brock Purdy is stratosphere. That's what's next. Interesting, story, sensation, stratosphere. That's where we're going. I'm actually kind of rooting for it. You know what? I'll just put this out there. I actually think Seattle's going to win tonight. I do. But I am hoping for the Niners to win just because I want to go to the stratosphere. That's what I love. Want to get to the way I hate? Why don't you come with me? I think you should. All right, what I hate, Packers-Rams is coming up here. The zombie Rams, who now have come to life because they have one of the all-time great Carolina Panthers, Baker Mayfield, as their quarterback, and he's going to be starting against Aaron Rodgers. We were asked this morning, Good Morning Football, we're like, who needs this game more? Who's coming after? Who wants it more? Not who wants it more, who really needs it? Is Baker, because, the obvious ramifications, he's looking at his football future. Does he catch on with the Rams? If he doesn't catch on with the Rams, does he catch on somewhere else? Did he already do enough in the last game to be like, wow, this is something, and someone's going to bring Baker in? Probably. But as a starter next year with the Rams or somebody else, he's got to finish this season strong. But I went with the other one. I went with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers may never play again after this season. It's very mysterious. We don't know. I know he's got 50-some million reasons to come back next year, but different guy. Made a ton of money, so much accomplished on the field, and I don't know if he's going to come back. The point is, if they lose this game, I think the Packers are done. The Packers are 5-8 with 4 to play. I think they need to win out 9-8 to make the playoffs, and they have a couple tough games coming up. I know they played the Dolphins, a couple of division games, but if you lose to the Baker Mayfield zombie Rams, it's probably done, and you go to 5-9 and see you later, and then it's, we're getting very close to Jordan Love time, and that may be it. That may be it for Aaron Rodgers. And I mean it not for the season. I mean that's it for the career. And I don't really care what you think of Aaron Rodgers. My own feelings are very strong. He's the best quarterback I have ever seen. Ever. I don't want to split hairs and get into the greatest. That's Tom Brady with the accomplishments or most talented. I've never seen someone play the quarterback position better in my entire life than Aaron Rodgers. And for that reason, I'm going to miss him when he's not in the games. I like watching him play football. And he's got this amazing combination of he is the best quarterback I have ever seen, and I think he is still the most interesting quarterback in the entire league. And I know he took a lot of heat, especially in the 2020 season, 2021. Controversial takes. I get it. He lost a lot of people. I don't care if he said that stuff, if I agree with it or not. The fact that he is putting it out there in 2022 when people are just going from it is what it is to it is what it is to one game at a time, he'll talk about anything. He has this approach with the media where he genuinely tries to make every answer insightful, interesting, and he puts an effort in. He doesn't mail it in. And I miss that. And I think that is going to become a real dying breed in what we do. And when you have other outlets to do it, you're just not going to see a lot of players sit up there in post-game press conferences or podcasts, especially quarterbacks of his magnitude, just sit there and talk and talk and talk. And any question you say, there'll be an anecdote or a story or any sort of insight that he's trying to share. I just miss it. Look, I've interviewed him before a few times, and you can ask him anything. There's no trigger questions. He doesn't come to you, nor does a representative beforehand and say, please avoid this. Aaron would rather not talk about this. It doesn't exist. He just goes on his own and says, ask me anything. And we've seen him. We've seen him get asked ridiculous things, and he still rolls with it. Even when he does the farcical things, like with the Pardon My Take guys, he sits down there and laughs through it. Anything you want to ask him. McAfee does it every week. I mean, you see it. It's a fantastic thing that I'm going to miss. His candidness and his insights. That combination of that person who tries that hard in the media and really gives you that much and is that good of a player, it's once in 20 years. You just don't see it. A 4-time MVP doesn't talk like that. Tom Brady doesn't talk like that. Peyton Manning didn't talk like that. It's just not how it goes. And I think if he loses to the Rams this weekend, I think it's pretty much done. I certainly this year is. And the idea if he's come back next year, who knows? You know, I look at the money, sure. You look at Christian Watson, it looks like he might be a superstar. It matters. But also, I don't know, just one more time around the sun for him. I think it's a coin flip chance he's even back. I hate that. I want Rodgers in the mix. Whether you love Rodgers or not, you can't tell me it's not unbelievably compelling to watch him lose in the playoffs each year. It's always this tragedy, and we always think it's not going to happen this year. Oh, it does. So the fact that Rodgers wouldn't be in the playoffs, he's just one of the characters I like to see in the movie, that is the NFL playoffs every year. And the fact that he won't be in and may never be in again, I hate that. But let's change the mood. We got Jason McCourty coming up a little bit with our sports media Death Star, in which we just blast things with a planet-killing laser. But first, what's hilarious? Come on. It is so funny to me that Dolphins, Bills, great game, don't get me wrong. Saturday night, NFL Network triple header. It has been so talked to death. There have been 3,000 takes on it, and that's just the weather. That's just the weather. People merely talking about the temperature and the precipitation. I was cracking up this morning. You want what's hilarious? I was watching a clip from the Dan Le Batard show, and I love those guys and girls, and they were talking about I think that the NFL should mandate that the Buffalo Bills have to put a roof on their stadium. They should mandate it. It is ridiculous. And the guys are all laughing and giving crap. They've already had to move one game. We're expecting snow this weekend. It's stupid. They should have to move it, and then everyone else just killed them. So you have to put a roof on the Packers and the Bears and the Bengals and the Ravens, and it was just the funniest exchange. But that's where we're at with this game. So many takes. Weather alone, so many takes. I was on Good Morning Football talking about Tyreek Hill and the weather. I'm like, do cheetahs actually exist in snow? Do they? And everyone says no, and Google says no. And actually, we found a picture of a cheetah in snow, so they must. But here's where I'll go with it, because this is what's hilarious. My favorite one-on-one matchup in Bills versus Dolphins is the unique quarterback versus defensive lineman matchup that you don't see a ton. But do you want to get into this Josh Allen versus Christian Wilkins thing? You want to get into to our guy, number 17, our favorite player in the basement? All right, let's get into it. Back in September, the Bills go down to Miami. They lost a very close game, a very strange game in which Josh Allen threw 63 passes with no interceptions, and somehow the Bills only scored 19 points. Weird game. The Bills lose that game, and there was an incident between Josh and Christian Wilkins, the defensive lineman for the Dolphins, that ended up with Josh being flagged for a personal foul for 15 yards for ripping off Wilkins' helmet. Pretty big deal for a quarterback to do that. That's not Josh's style. He runs hot, but not like that. A couple of days after that incident, Josh comes into the basement. I was in London at the time, so it was actually Kyle Brandt's hotel room. And I said, dude, what happened between you and Wilkins at the bottom of the pile? It sounded like this.
I think anybody with two eyes can understand what was going on under that pile. Obviously, I let the emotions get to the best of me, but there are some things that I didn't appreciate down there that was going on, and we'll let everybody make their own judgments for that. I apologize to my team for putting ourselves in a tougher situation, but it is what it is, and we'll move on. I know I'm going to probably get a fine for that, but I hope they kind of look at some other stuff too.
There's a lot of other stuff. The player in question said after the game, quote, "With alpha males, that's how it goes." Do alpha males grab each other's groins on the football field?
Not typically, and that's, it is what it is. He's a competitor, and that's just kind of he's been known for that going back to college.
Yeah.
So I should know that and shouldn't let it get the best of me, but sometimes it just does. Sometimes you see red and things like that happen. But I'm not here to make any claims or throw anybody under the bus. It is what it is. I shouldn't let the emotions get to the best of me.
Look, I'm going to pat myself on the back. Hell of a follow by me about alpha males grabbing each other's groins. Here's the deal. If you don't know this, and you probably do, Christian Wilkins has a reputation as a bleep stirrer. Messes things up, messes with people, little extracurriculars, give you that little extra bump. There's a very famous video from the 2016 Fiesta Bowl. He's with Clemson, back in college, obviously. And Ohio State's Curtis Samuel, a really good player, was down on the ground, and Wilkins inexplicably comes up from behind him as Samuel's down on the field and just kind of gives him a little oil check. Kind of grabs him from behind in the buttocks and groin region and explores a little bit. It's a very weird video. You've probably seen it, and everyone's like, what the hell is this? So the word gets out about that amongst players. They see the video, and sure enough, something happened with Josh in the pile. And I think his bathing suit area was grabbed at the end of the pile because he freaked out and was screaming at the referee and pulled his helmet off. Wilkins is messing with people. That's what he does. And part of being the guy who messes with people, and part of being the bad dude and the guy who pushes people after the play and tries to get in their head is saying, what do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about. It's like a pro wrestling heel. When the referee's there, you go, what? Oh, turn around, hit him with the steel chair. And to that point, Christian Wilkins got to talk to him a couple weeks ago of the Miami Dolphins, comes on Good Morning Football, and I straight up asked him, he was talking about certain people don't want to play against us, and it's fun. And so I asked him, well, maybe that has to do with some of the stuff we're talking about here. Check this out. What do you say, Christian, to people say they also don't want to face you because of stuff that happens after the play that they're not into?
That's on them. So I don't know what you're exactly getting at or alluding to. But yeah, that's on them. I'm just having fun. I like to do my job and, try to do it at a high level. And, if it ruffles some other guys on the other team, hey, that's on them.
All right. So perfect. That's exactly how you play it. I don't know what you're getting at. I don't know what you're quote unquote alluding to. So let's make it really clear. We're not alluding to anything right now. We're directly referencing it. You grab guys down below, Christian. That's what you do. It's not the first time. It's not the last time. And I'm here to say this. I don't blame Christian Wilkins. If someone wants to say that's Bush League or there's no part for that in the game, fine. There is a part of that for that in the NFL. There are guys who do that. And there are always guys who their teammates say, yeah, I'm glad he's on our team. He's always doing that stuff. He's messing with people. He's getting in their heads. Of course, it's Bush League grabbing someone's junk at the bottom of a pile. But there are guys who do it. Don't be so naive to say that doesn't happen. It always happens. We can ask McCourty when he comes on a second. There's lots of guys like that. Listen, the Richie Incognito types who, man, Richie did some stuff and he got dragged over the coals for some terrible things that he did and he has this wild reputation. But man, when you go on that field and you got 10 other guys with you, you want Richie Incognito to be with you. That's just the player perspective. I've heard a million guys say that who have played with him. Christian Wilkins, the same thing. So, Josh is going to be ready for it. And it will probably happen again. And then you got the Bills linemen who have to have Josh's back and who have to mix it up. So if you're Wilkins, do you try Josh again? Of course you do. You got 15 free yards out of it and nothing happened to you. Who cares? You didn't get flagged. They'll do it again. Watch. He's fearless. Part of that pro wrestling heel. Deny, do it again. Deny, do it again. It worked. It's successful. I wouldn't do it if I was a player. That's not how I'm wired. I wouldn't teach my son to do it, but in a way, I would want my son to have someone like that on his team who's just a maniac who's going to do something crazy to get them to win and is going to have his back. Pretty interesting. Just watch. Wilkins is out there. He does the big celebrations. He does the worm. He's all animated. He's very big personality. He's going to be around 17 for the Bills. And when they're in the pile together, just watch. He'll be playing a little tiddlywinks. Just watch and see if Josh can resist. And I bet he will. But my prediction is that the Bills lineman will be all over it. And one of them may even get a flag. Hopefully not. But it's going to be on again. Imagine that. All the matchups you can get into. The Dolphins' great wide receivers versus the Bills' secondary. Josh versus the Dolphins' linebackers. I'm looking at Allen versus Wilkins in the groin-grabbing category. I hope it doesn't happen. But I've seen enough football, it probably will. That's what's hilarious. You know what else is really fun? Having one of my boys on here, one of my guys, one of my brothers, one of my friends, one of my coworkers, Jason McCourty. Let's get into a fun segment that we call the Death Star segment. Let's go. That's damn right. Let's blow up some stuff. This is the segment where you're watching right now, you're consuming sports media as you're listening to me say these words. You probably do a lot on your phone, on your TV, everywhere. And in doing that, there's probably so many things you can't stand. Why do they always do that segment? Why do they always use that phrase? Why do they always use that graphic? I know you have opinions on this stuff just like I do. So we have a giant planet-killing laser here that we're going to aim at some of those things and just destroy them permanently. And to do that, I'm bringing in a friend, as I always do. This is a gentleman who loves football, hates beer, and is my brother on the Good Morning Football program. He is a Super Bowl champion named Jason McCourty. Get in here, Jay. What's up, buddy?
What's happening? You damn right. I do not like beer. I even tried German beer. It is not for me, but I am a Super Bowl champ. I appreciate that.
So if anybody doesn't know, so Jason and I were in Munich, Germany together, which is just beer heaven. And he said, I have not tried a beer since high school. I just drink other things. That's not what I'm into. So we went to like a legitimate German beer hall. He got a beer. Jay, how was it and when will your next beer be?
I drank about a quarter of it because I was with you guys, you and Jamie Erdahl. I gave it my best shot, could not finish it. Well, for one, over there in Germany, the beer was a pint. It was about this big. There was no way. I can't see in the near future me having another one. I'll stick to my wine and tequila. Does the trick.
It's great. It's not a bad plan. I think Jamie finished the rest of that beer. Jason, before we start with the Death Star, quickly, it's Christmas season. You played with the Titans, Browns, Patriots, and Dolphins. Which team was like the most festive and fun? Which organization around the holidays?
The most festive and fun. I'm going to go with New England for one reason. There was this thing we would do. We called it locker room dues, whereas as teammates, we would all raise a bunch of money and hand it out to different people throughout the organization that would help us, from custodial people to training room, equipment room, all of those people whose jobs go unnoticed. And New England was the most amount of money I've ever raised, and there were so many people that had great holidays because of the players in that locker room raising money, players and coaches.
Was it a standard amount, or would guys with big contracts put more, or like whatever you want? How'd that work?
There was a piece of paper that we all was just handed around, and you'd get it and you'd be like, whoa, Devin McCourty, my goodness. And you're trying to keep up, but it was all for like a great cause. So it was different when I was on other teams. We did it everywhere, but it was like a standard. Hey, if you're on the roster, you pay this amount. If you're practice squad, you pay that amount. That kind of challenged everybody, because you know how important all of those people are. You played, you were in college, you know what it is. So many people that do so much for you.
How was Gronk and Brady on the sheet?
Talk about it. Both of those guys, commercials all over. Both of those guys are very gifted. Very gifted.
I don't doubt it for a second. All right, so Jay, we promised we would do the Sports Media Death Star. The laser is charged. It's here. It's ready. Here's the way it's going to work. You're going to submit something in sports media that drives you crazy. I'm going to, and then we're going to go to Twitter. You're really interesting because you played in the league for 13 years, and you've been in sports media for like basically 6 months. So you're new and you have a perspective. Bring up anything in our industry that grinds your gears, and then we'll decide if we want to blast it. The floor is yours.
So you're watching the game, you're all in, and of course you want to hear from players and coaches alike and all of those things, but I can't stand whether it's the halftime, end of the quarter, whether you're watching basketball, football, and they pull the head coach to the side, and it's just like you have this question. It's just like, wow, your quarterback threw 16 interceptions in the first half. What does he need to change? And the coach gives this super stock answer that you get absolutely nothing from. I'm actually rocking my hoodie, my Bill Belichick day by day. And it's that type of question where you just say, we're going to talk about it. We're going to try not to turn the ball over. So I don't want to hear from the coach during the game. In the preseason, I don't want to hear from players on the sideline who are chewing on sunflower seeds. I just want to watch the game and enjoy and pretend like I know it all and tell them what they need to be doing.
It's absolutely perfect, and I love that an ex-player says that, because when we ask people to submit things for the Death Star, a lot of people say that those exact same interviews, and it's a perfect response. I'm not even going to respond to it. 3, 2, 1, let's blast it! Goodbye! Go on! It's done.
I love
It's
it.
forever dead. No more. All right, Jay, I got one for you. And this is funny because you and I were talking about this during commercial today, so we already did a lap on this. There is a new talent out there in the field of sports, young athletes' cliches. And one game at a time, and it is what it is, our first ballot Hall of Famers. But there's this new, Giannis-type talent that people have been scouting since they were in 5th grade and is now going pro. And it's athletes using the phrase complimentary football. Are you seeing this out there? Because it's everywhere. If someone wants to say, how do you win this game? How can this team win a Super Bowl? They'll get this complimentary football off the top of the liquor shelf, and they'll just say, we just got to continue to play complimentary football. And when you lose, it's like, well, we weren't able to play complimentary football. I don't even know what it means. I think it just means the defense and the offense both have to be good. And don't forget the special teams. That's complimentary football. Jason, weigh in on the phrase. And if you want to spare it from the laser, that's your prerogative. But what's your thoughts on complimentary football?
How do you not like that? It's such a smart statement, and you learn the game as intelligence. So for players, they're breaking it down for you. They're saying, hey, on offense, I might have been awful today. I was a quarterback, maybe I only completed 3 passes, but we were complimentary. The defense played really well. When I threw an interception, they got on the field, and they got off of the field on a 3 and out. I might have sucked on offense, but my punt returner was great today. We're picking each other up. You cannot get rid of that. Complimentary football is here to stay. It is a staple in 32 locker rooms in the NFL.
It's beautiful. We just did complimentary media right here. I think it's so strong that even if we blasted it, it might survive. Listen, McVay's hitting complimentary football now. Our guy Josh Allen is a big complimentary football guy, so it will be spared. And if you're watching this and you're like, complimentary football, I don't know that one, just start listening for it. It's one of those things that now that you've heard it, you're going to hear it in every press conference. But Jason, we got to so let's get to the Twitter submission. We've killed one and we've spared one. Mm-hmm. All right, so we got 30 of the same one for this. We're just going to grab 2, and you know what it is. The second you see it, bring up the tweets. Jenny says, he's him. Stop it. Another tweet from Bob Pilj, calling anyone who is halfway good him. Jason, I'm going to let you have the floor on this. You got out of the league just before the him-assance, the him explosion became the thing. Your thoughts on someone who is him?
Well, the thing is, you can't get rid of all of them. So he either is him or he got that dog in him. So either way, we need one of them. So we can't just be blowing everything up. There has to be something to separate the dogs from the pups. So the him, as long as you have it in all caps, I'm still here for him. Stephon Diggs yelling on the sideline, I am him. So for this season, it has to remain. Maybe next season we can blow it up. We got to keep it.
It's tough. This is the season of him. This will be looked in as that. And I think you make a great point, Jay, is that he's got that dog in him walked so that him could run. I feel like they tagged each other in. I think what drives people crazy is that saying someone has a dog in them kind of makes sense in a phonics sense. You're like, okay, I can see what you mean. He's him is not an English sentence. So it just drives people nuts. And yet you and I in Good Morning Football, tongue in cheek, we still will be saying it. So what I'm deducing from you is you want to spare he's him. And are we done with he's got that dog in him? Because if that's the case, we'll blast him.
Done with. He got that dog in him. We don't need that anymore. He is him. We now know. More pronouns.
3, 2, 1. Blast the dog. See you later. This laser is him. This show is him. That explosion is him. Next one. All right, Jay, this is a different touch here. I'm interested to see how you respond to this. This person says, referring to tragic moments as, quote, a reminder it's just a game. Of course it's a game, and water's wet. Don't use someone's pain as an excuse to sound sanctimonious. It belittles the injured's experience. That's what this person says. So someone gets hurt, and, they're bringing the card out, or, whoever, the air cast, all that terrible stuff. And the announcer, they're just spinning plates. And it's like, well, this is a reminder here that this is just a game they're playing. Your thoughts on this, Jay?
I'm with him on that. Like, somebody gets hurt, like, this is a moment. We don't need to be reminded it's a game. We all know. We sat down on a Thursday night, a Monday night, Sunday night. We got our beer ready. We know it's a game. We're ready to relax. But in this moment, it is now bigger than the game. So let's give that a moment. Let's not take away from it. But sometimes I've called games for radio. In those moments, there's a lot of dead time. You don't know what to say. You're spinning your wheels. You're coming up with stuff. You've ran out of material, so you have to pull for something. We can't take it all away. But I'm okay with this one. It's probably time to blow that up. I'm okay with this one. I like that.
Well, Jay, you make a great point. Jason, you do radio color commentary, so there's no visuals, it's audio only. You're doing Dolphins Bills Saturday night, so hopefully it doesn't happen Saturday night, but in time in the past, when they do bring out the cart, do you have something that you say, or like a catchphrase or something, not a catchphrase, like a go-to phrase that you can help sum things up? Because that's hard.
You're looking at the producer like, do we have a commercial? Do we have a sponsored segment? Like, get us off the air.
Right.
But if not, you start talking about what they possibly can do. Like, you're looking at your paper, like, who's the backup? Who's going to go in the game? And you're trying to turn the page and pull it forward. But who knows? Like, you run out of stuff to say, but we got to blow that up. That's not it, though. This is a game. All right. We all know that. Let's not state the obvious.
Let's do it. A reminder that it's just a Death Star laser. 3, 2, 1, go. A reminder it's just a game. We get it. Very pretentious thing to say, and I know those are tough moments, but at least talk about how this really puts things into perspective. That'll be a little bit more. Yeah. All right, Jay, I think we have one more.
Love it.
Now, what's interesting to me, too, is that you have not, as a full-blown, non-playing media member, been through draft season yet. We're going to get there in the spring. And here's what Big John 1906 says. Mock drafts before trades or free agency. He says, quite literally, the biggest waste of time to spend on something that's almost guaranteed to be obsolete. Where do you come out, Jason, on the mock draft industry?
You can't get rid of them because it's so enticing. Like, we all go on them, we all read them, but I understand it. I remember coming out of college and I looked at every mock draft that there was, and they had me going in the third round. Some of them were undrafted. You go from being high on the high and all the way down at the bottom. I had a buddy whose girlfriend was just telling me all about his draft status. He ended up going in the 7th round, and they're no longer together, which kind of tells that story. But we have to have the mock drafts because we need to have something to look at all of those months leading up to the draft. I understand the frustration, but we can't get rid of mock drafts. We need them.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. Big John 1906, let me tell you something. You're clicking on those mock drafts, buddy. I know you are. You're clicking. You're scanning for your team. They are eye candy. People love them. They're preposterously inaccurate. There's no accountability. I think in a lot of ways it's a huge racket where they just throw anything and none of the picks are ever right, but we always click. And if they went away, Jay, I think we would miss them.
Yeah, we would definitely miss them. That's what we look forward to in draft season. All these mocks and how many times it can change before the draft actually hits. We gotta have them.
All right, last one, and then Jason's got to go. Jason's going to Buffalo this weekend. Dolphins, Bills. All right, someone named Alex Smith, who I don't think is the number 1 overall pick. He says, quote tweeting with officially official. Now let me break this down. Alex Smith works at SNY, Jay, where we do. This is what this means. Ian Rappaport or someone, and we love you, Ian, will be like, so-and-so, per sources, has agreed to a deal with the Ravens. Okay, he tweets it. And then the Ravens will put out a picture of dudes sitting at the table literally signing his contract, and then Ian will retweet that picture with officially official. And I don't mean to put it all on Ian. They all do it. Jason, we know what it looks like. Officially official. Does it die or live?
It has to live. And then let me explain why it has to live. Because sometimes it has to live. It has to live. Listen.
Wow.
Because sometimes you have these people the report stuff. Aaron Judge was going to be a giant at one point. And then they say these things, and we believe it because these guys are always right. And then without the officially official, with the person signing on the dotted line, it's kind of just out there in the Twitter universe or the social media universe, and we don't know if it has become officially official yet. So for these guys, they have to stamp their sources and they have to be correct. So we have to have officially official. I know you hate it, but we have to have it.
Maybe I'm crazy here. Why don't you just retweet it with the word official? Why do you got to get so cute with the officially official? That's what my problem is. You sticking with both of them? Stand your ground.
I'm sticking with both of them. It sounds better. Like, we wouldn't be talking about it. Ian Rappaport was just mentioned 15 times in a segment on Kyle Brandt's Basement because he had the officially before he had the official. So somewhere or another, they have to separate themselves. Now, the challenge for them, though, is to come up with something other than officially official. Come up with something genuine. Find other synonyms to take those away.
You know what's crazy is you go into this segment, you think, well, officially official is going to die. He is him is definitely going to die. And they live. And that's why I call for Bills Dolphins, and he is on Good Morning Football at the table with me Monday through Friday. Jay, I don't know other way to compliment you by just saying that you are him. And thank you for joining the Death Star segment.
You a fool with it.
You an idiot. See you later, bud. Have a good weekend. Take care.
You too.
See you, man. Appreciate you, bud. That's Jason McCourty. He was the first out of his mother. He left Devin back in there for a while. Devin was taking his time. Jason came out. Twins. They told me about it. Let's finish the show. I'm going to throw a dart. Let's go to the sky cam, if you don't mind. Sky cam right up here over my left shoulder. I'm going to take a little walk past Ben Wallace, past scuba diving, stage diving, Pearl Jam guy. I throw one dart. It hits one number, and then I go to that number on a list of random topics that I've not seen before, and I'll ad-lib a little riff for you to end the week. Today's number 12, a big old 12. What is topic number 12 on the 1 through 20 Kyle Brandt's Basement list? It is least favorite exercise. Man, how about an exercise in patience when my son won't practice his piano because he hates it and he screams every single time how much he hates piano and why do we make him? And it's difficult for me because I was made to take piano when I was a kid by my mom, and I hated it, and I didn't want to practice, and I wanted to just go out and play kickball and dodgeball. I'm really going to use this as my answer. I could tell you Turkish get-ups or one-legged split squats, and there's a million physical exercises I hate. The exercise in patience is the most difficult one. That sounds like something that Confucius would say or something like that, but it's absolutely true. It's tough. Love that parenting, but man, you get a little older, they get those mouths on them, they learn how to sigh, they learn how to roll their eyes, they learn how to slam doors, sometimes all in one fell swoop. Exercising patience when my son has to practice piano, which he does not want to do. And I don't blame him, but it's good for him. It's good to learn how to read music. Sophisticated, cool kid. Play Jingle Bells come Christmas time. Guys, that's it. That's the end of the week. Thank you so much. Love you. Miss you. I'll be back Sunday night with a full-ass recap of the entire NFL weekend, not just Sunday. We have 3 games on Saturday. We'll hit them all. I promise. We are out of here. That's it from the basement.